Okay, James Mennie from the Montreal Gazette is here. We're heading into the summer break. Parliament or the National Assembly, they're all packing up for summer. Did we lose somebody? No, we did not. Okay, James Mennie, as they pack up for summer, we are looking at in the fall a fall election. No, what are we talking about? It's next year. James, help me out here. Fall election next year or not?
Well, that's the plan. That is the scheduled exercise in democracy. But it's very interesting because it's the end of session for the summer up in the National Assembly, and everyone's doing their little bilan. They're looking back at what was done, what the government's record has been, and the consensus in the opposition certainly is that François Legault is out of gas. He must go. The CAQ is really an anvil around the neck of Quebec when it comes to development, when it comes to its economic future. This is a government that has proved on repeated occasions that it really doesn't know what it's doing. However, the most interesting angle that I saw was brought by Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon, head of the PQ, who says, we're ready. We're ready. If we go to the polls this fall, i.e., I guess October of 2025, we're ready to go. And it does open an interesting door because it's not just, there is this consensus that we're kind of handcuffed with the CAQ. Can we actually continue to operate under these conditions for the next 14 months with a government that appears to have lost the confidence of the public? Although I think everyone knows that confidence can be restored if you have a certain amount of luck and a certain amount of skill. And I think that deep down in his heart, Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon realizes as well that our system is not based on opinion polls, it's based on votes. And it's based on a particular mandate, and that mandate's for 4 years. And whether we like it or not, that mandate ends in October of 26. However, Monsieur Plamondon, and indeed, to a certain extent, Monsieur Legault, do have interest in going to the polls earlier. And there's nothing stopping Legault from calling an election for next week. But the fact is, once I say, if Legault can rig the table somehow, give himself some wins, much needed wins, and then suddenly to say, okay, you know what, if you're happy, Quebec, let's go to the polls, let's get this over with. It's also in the interest of Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon, because the closer we get to the established official date of the next general election, more and more scrutiny is going to be placed upon the PQ's pledge to hold a referendum in their first term if they form the government. The polls suggest they will do that now, but as we get closer to Election Day, don't be surprised if you see that support erode. The other wild card, of course, is we don't find out until next weekend who is going to be leading the Liberal Party of Quebec, which is going to be another interesting angle to look at, another interesting factor to consider. But the one thing that really came through loud and clear today, quite apart from the complete disdain and dissatisfaction the opposition was expressing with this government, and rightly so, there is also the consensus. We can't go on like this for much longer. And I think there is something there between the deficits, between the daily horror show headlines coming out of the Sack-Click inquiry. You really have to wonder how much longer, even though they have this ridiculous supermajority of seats in the legislature, how much longer can they hold on to power? How much longer can they sort of walk in and have people take them seriously when every day the news just keeps getting worse and worse for François Legault and the Coalition Avenir Québec?
I mean, all that may or may not be true, but I'm just, it's not like François Legault is going to give up this supermajority government that he has. He's not going to allow his own government to be defeated.
Well, he won't do that, but you also have to remember that there's, all those, some would say potted plants that constitute the CAQ caucus. They're kind of nervous right now. They didn't sign on, to wind up in the opposition. They signed on to be part of the government, and even though the vast majority of them are not getting much public exposure, I'd like to think, charitably, that they are serving the interests of their constituents. But this government, despite its huge majority, does not enjoy the confidence of the public. It certainly doesn't enjoy the confidence of the legislature. And when you consider the amount of time we have and the challenges therein, not the least of which being what we're all going through right now with tariffs and economic uncertainty, you really have to wonder how much longer this can hold together before it all starts flying apart. We have seen over and over and over each of the projects of this government sort of like, just keel over and die. The latest thing, never mind Saclic, now it appears that the whole idea of trying to digitalize the healthcare system is also on the edge of a precipice. It's only, but not to worry there, Matt. I think it's only like $136 million over budget, so it's not like $500 million. We're not there yet. But once again, how much longer can this government continue to trudge forward blindly, essentially knocking into furniture as it goes, while Quebec's economy and perhaps its future really seems to be increasing doubt.
Speaking of unstable governments, there's a big breakup in Washington. How do you see that breakup between Musk and Trump, and how it's affecting us here?
But this is, if there was ever an argument that says, everything is far too connected these days, it's the President of the United States, Donald Trump, and Elon Musk, the richest man in the world. And yet, yes, we have skin in this game, whether it's in terms of the tariffs. And, it's kind of funny. I heard you doing the business report before. I really wonder how much of that trading today is based against the possibility that Trump won't be around in the foreseeable future, that indeed the pressure is going to mount on him. Given what, the accusations that are being made about him online, given the increasing chaos, the uncertainty, the economic bungling that he's done. Now he's got this distraction with Elon Musk, who, whether you like it or not, has fingers in a lot of pies, and more importantly, is also as well, if not better connected with governments, say, Russia than the U.S. You have to really wonder which way this is going to go. And in the end, given the apparent egos of these two, who eventually will come out on top. What I do know is that I don't think it's too much of a nightmare scenario to suggest that somewhere along the line, a lot of people in the middle, i.e. us, could get caught up in this and bulldoze economically one way or another.
You don't really think that Elon Musk could actually take Donald Trump down, though, do you?
I don't know. You see, the thing is, we always talked about the money, but between Starlink, between all the connections that he has, between all the potential, how can I put it, damaging intelligence that may be out there about Donald Trump that's in the hands of other parties, you just don't know. But what I can tell you is that if you told me 5 years ago, or even 8 years ago, we'd be in a situation like this, I've said you were crazy, but now crazy is completely normal, and everyone is going to go home, tonight, and one way or another, either going online or just listening to the news, they'll find out the latest chapter in this completely ridiculous feud, which, whether we like it or not, will have a tangible effect on our daily lives.
Yeah, I just like the picture of Mark Carney on the phone trying to get through to the White House to do their backdoor negotiating.
Well, I'm glad you raised that, because this is also there. And as I said yesterday, it's great. You're negotiating whatever. If Trump walks in, takes everything you've done and drops it into a shredder, you're back at square one. And it's not off the table that he still could do that.
All right, James, thanks for this very uplifting conversation. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.